Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is Tina. I'm here quickly to bring you some of my new collage sheets that I'm popping into my Etsy shop. I'm doing them kind of in sets of 2, all except for this one, which is actually a set of 3, but that's purely because I'd kind of already made 3. So they're going to be for sale in sets of 2. I'm going to keep the price way down so they're kind of, you know, hopefully really accessible for kind of everyone who would like to buy them. Yeah, they're going to be in my Etsy. There'll be a PDF download. Yeah, I've tried to kind of do them in sets of 2 that are coordinated nicely together. So yeah, I will kind of introduce them all and then we'll have a bit of a play and kind of see what types of things you can make, obviously, with the collage sheets. So the first one is this one here, which is called the Bird Garden Collage sheet. Now, if you've been following along with my collage in what's turned into a series, effectively, this is effectively the collage sheet that we did with that. Actually, I'm going to turn these over so that they're not kind of confusing when we're looking at these, because, yeah, actually, I'll put them down behind me. You probably don't want to see the ones kind of poking out from behind. So this is the collage sheet that we did together, the kind of green themed one. And obviously what you can see I've done is kind of covered up all the stamped images. So I've had 1 or 2 people kind of ask me whether I was going to be selling the collage sheets. And, you know, I just explained to those people that I was kind of working on it. So this is what I've come up with. I have obviously covered up the stamped parts. And so this is the first one. And then I've made this one to kind of coordinate with it. So obviously you can see they're both kind of bird themed and kind of green kind of shades. So hopefully kind of go nicely together. So that's the first one, called Bird Garden. Then the next one, which again you would have seen in my collage series, had you been, you know, have you been watching it? This again is one of the ones that we did together, and I have just covered up where I had done stamped images. I have now covered up and got rid of any stamped images. So that's the first one. This is the second one. Again, got rid of kind of what was there. And then that's the third one, which didn't have any stamped images anyway. And that one I'm calling Folksy, because to me that looks quite folksy and kind of countryified and, you know, yeah, colourful and nice. Then the next one, this one I am calling Autumn Avery. As you can see, again, it's kind of quite a bird themed one. Autumn, obviously, because to me the colours in this look quite autumnal. And it's, yeah, again, kind of obviously a 2-page download, and hopefully kind of the 2 sheets coordinate really nicely together. And you've just got kind of a, you know, the couple of variations there for making things. That's that one. The next one here I'm calling Go Gently. This one, well, I was going to say is probably my favourite, but actually I'm not quite sure whether it is now. But I'm calling it Go Gently. It's obviously these gorgeous kind of very pale pinks and, you know, kind of beiges and things. So really, really pretty colours. And again, you've got kind of 2 pages there coordinating really nicely kind of together. So again, kind of a bit of scope there for your projects. Then the next one I'm calling Antique Flowers. This one is kind of more shades of blues, mixed in with some flowers and some kind of yellowy type colours. And then the next page, again, it's kind of got the blues, but it's kind of leaning towards pinks and things rather than the yellows. But hopefully they kind of go really nicely together and come together nicely as a kind of, you know, nice set. So that one is Antique Flowers. And then the final one, which this may be my favourite now, because I'm just always drawn to colour, as you know. So this one I am calling Flower Stall. So for the obvious reason, to me this looks like kind of wandering around, you know, a gorgeous flower market or something. Really, really pretty. And then the second sheet, although doesn't really contain any flowers, it's hopefully kind of blending really nicely with the colours. So you've got lots of greens and pinks and things here. Yeah, so I thought this one was nice and floral, this one not so much, but they kind of go together really nicely to, yeah, create and put things together nicely. So that's all of the different collage sheets or sets. So I'm not sure how many that actually is, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sets. So as I say, they're all actually for sale in my Etsy, and they're all actually a downloadable PDF purchase. So 2 sheets per PDF, 2 sheets per purchase. But yeah, hopefully I'm going to kind of keep the price way down and you know, kind of make them really kind of appealing for people. So let's go on and have a bit of a play with them. So I've brought along a couple of things that I thought we'd just play around and experiment with. I'm trying to have a bit of a tidy up, not of my desk, that would be just way too ambitious to be honest, so not of my desk, but the area around my desk, which also a huge mess. So trying to kind of get on top of that a little bit. I'm having a bit of a clear out and keep taking things to the school, you know, kind of because they like to have lots of craft things for the children to play with. So, you know, I'm kind of taking things as often as I can. You know, kind of all my old, really bright colour, card making supplies and things like that. So I've got this one here, which is the Autumn Avery. Really love these colours and things. And then what I've done, I just dug out this kind of image here from a kind of vintage book, which strangely doesn't necessarily kind of look like it should go, you know, with this collage sheet. But strangely enough, I feel like it does. You know, don't ask me why. It's not the obvious kind of, not the obvious combination, but for some reason, to me, this does go, and hopefully we're going to just make it go anyway. So I'm going to have a play with that. So I'm just deciding which sheet to use. So I might just use this one here. So what I'm going to do is actually start by cutting this image down. And we'll cut her kind of down across here as well. And across there. Now unfortunately she is very long, you know, very tall. Which I would have preferred her slightly kind of wider, but never mind. So I'm just going to kind of rough the edges up like this. Okay, oh, unfortunately I have actually torn her hair now, but never mind. Right, so just decide kind of whereabouts, you know, I want her to go. So I think probably kind of on here, picking up those. We'll just check, because now I've cut her down, she obviously is kind of considerably smaller. So let's have a look. Oh, decisions. Right, so I think probably here. So what I'm going to do is just kind of cut this down. And I'm going to kind of decoupage this envelope with, oh, not decoupage, sorry. The decorate the envelope with her. So I'm going to kind of pop her on like this, and then just going to tear across here. Like that. Tear down the sides. Like that. And just check that I haven't now ruined it completely. And then I'm just going to tear down this side. It's a really nice day here today. It's nice and sunny. I think it's about 19 degrees, which, you know, for me, that's just the ideal temperature. It's not kind of too hot that you just feel then horrible and uncomfortable, but instead it's just right. Now what I'm going to do, I think, is tear this butterfly out. And then I'm just going to see whether I'd like to have that butterfly torn on here, or whether I want to cut it out and actually have it kind of, you know, fussy cut it out and pop it on as per a usual butterfly. So yeah, I'm trying to have a bit of a clear up, and I'm not sure whether to actually kind of tackle my desk, because I have said before, but weirdly, having my desk so messy, I find quite inspiring. Because, you know, I like kind of just when you find something, you know, underneath a pile of things that you can just grab and kind of pop on your projects. So, you know, for me, that's really quite nice having, you know, mess everywhere, because you can then do that. So, yeah, I think for me, I'm going to leave my desk messy. Right, I've got this coffee dyed lace. This is from my Nan's Neck curtains, which I'm still, you know, in luck and have got. Now I'm just kind of looking to see whether I can kind of incorporate them anywhere. Unfortunately, this part that's left is not very lacy, if you see what I mean. It's not very holey. It's not a holey part of the lace. So I've got this lace here, because what I'm going to do is ink this up and make this look really grungy. I think for me this is kind of calling to be a really grungy kind of look. So let's just cut this lace down. And again, as you can see, this is kind of gathered lace, but I'm just going to cut it off of the gathering, because I quite like using it when it lays flat. So we'll just cut that off like that. Oops. And then I just need to decide whether I want it under the collage paper, which I think I do. I quite like the look of that. So just cut that out like that. Then we're going to have our butterfly kind of somewhere on the picture like that. So just put that to one side. Find my ink pad, which, I mean, that's the only thing with having such a messy desk. Obviously then trying to find things isn't always great, but you know, aside from that, I do prefer it. Not everywhere messy, but just the desk I find very helpful. So I'm just going to ink this up around here. Like try and crease the edges up a bit so as it's not really laying flat, if you see what I mean, but instead so as it's you know, really quite grunged up. So just go around the edges up here. Just be a bit careful here where I tore it, where her hair is, because although I don't mind it being torn, obviously torn across her head was not kind of ideal. Wasn't really kind of what I was hoping for. Now I'm just deciding whether to actually kind of pop her on something, or actually whether to just tear her. Quite sure whether I should have something, kind of maybe some lace or something coming out from under her. What does everybody think? I feel like I can hear my son just got in, because he's actually doing his exams at the moment, so I'm guessing that they've allowed them to go home early. So I'm guessing that he's actually got home, because his exam this morning, he's had 2 kind of most days, every day, but today he actually only had 1. Mostly it was maths, but it was first thing, so I'm guessing that they've kind of let them go after they've finished. Yeah, I quite like that. And then I'm going to kind of pop this here, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, and I mean, if you watch my channel a lot, you know, you're probably sick of seeing me do this, but I just, you know, have to kind of go around the edge of my envelope with a kind of swirly, you know, kind of, I'm looking for that kind of rich, like Baroque kind of feel on my envelope. So I'm just going to move these bits out of the way a bit. I just want to kind of, you know, make it look quite rich and sumptuous, and yeah, you know, like as if it was, well, not fabric, but do you know what I'm saying? The kind of, you know, like a stately home kind of feel, I guess, because that lady, I mean, I don't know who she is, and probably somebody will comment and tell me who she was, and I'm just showing my ignorance again, but because that seems to happen quite often. Sometimes I kind of think it might be somebody, but I don't like to say in case I'm wrong. In this instance, I haven't got a clue. I can't lie. I don't know who that person is in that picture, but no doubt somebody will, and I'll just feel really, you know, ignorant for not knowing, but there we go. I'm just inking around this, and again, I want it to look very grungy. Now I'm going to ink up the back because I don't know whether this would be glued into a journal or, you know, how this is going to be used. But once I've got all my gubbins, you know, on the front of it, it's going to be lumpy, so it won't be quite so easy to ink up. So I'll just ink it up, just, you know, just in case, so as it looks kind of equally grunged up on the back and the front. So there we go. Just bring her back. Right, so I like her like that. Now just check which way my envelope flap is. So I probably want it this way round. And I'm going to stick my envelope down. Oops. Yes, so my son, 16, so he's doing his, they're known as GCSEs here. I don't know kind of what things would be referred to kind of in other countries, but, you know, his kind of school leavers exams. And the school did kind of right and offered what they call study leave, you know, that he could have taken study leave. So when they wrote, I thought, oh, how lovely, you know, be able to spend some time together. And I said to my son, oh, that's brilliant, you know, we'll be able to spend a bit of time together. And he said, Mum, this is for revision for my exams. So, you know, it's not for hanging around with you, spending time with you. So he opted to stay at school. He just said that he wouldn't really get anything done if he were at home, and therefore he's kind of better off being at school. And he's absolutely right, and, you know, very sensible, obviously, to have done that. Because, you know, my first thought was straight away, oh, that's so nice, you know, we can spend some time together. But no, he was much more sensible than me. So that's what he's done. He's opted to stay at school doing his study leave. However, he's, I think, we're week two of the exams. And he did kind of say last week, actually, it's not really panned out as he expected, because in between the exams, he said that he's actually kind of, you know, not greatly kind of doing anything, and is ending up kind of, you know, chilling out on the school field with his friends anyway. So he might as well have been at home, you know, because he's actually, it's turned out he's not really getting much done anyway. But so anyway, I think that was the front door that I heard earlier. That's how we first got onto this subject, with him coming home having finished his exam. So because it is kind of about lunchtime, so I should have to kind of go and ask him how he got on as soon as my video's finished. Teenagers, they make such a lot of noise, don't they, when they come in? So you know, the front door slams, and I can hear him in and out locking his bike up, you know, putting his bike away and locking it back up. Okay, oops, got that piece there. And then, oh gosh, I'm getting stuck everywhere now. And then I got this, this butterfly here, which I just thought picks up really well the colour in her dress. So again, I'm going to ink the butterfly up so it looks nice and grungy. And obviously as well, once it's inked up, it actually is kind of similar, you know, more similar to her dress than it even was before. So looking really good. So I'm just going to kind of stick this on. Like this. So this is the first time that I've really had a play with some of these papers. I have played with a couple of them, but I mean, this particular one, the Autumn Avery, this is the first time that I've played with it too. So it was touch and go whether I whether I was going to manage to pull it off with this image or not. But I think it picks it up okay. You know, to me, that kind of looks like it goes quite well. So just going to assist this a little bit with some hot glue, just to kind of stick it down in the corners, just so as I'm not having to kind of hold it down. And again on this side, like that. And a little bit here. More here because okay, so, and I will just pop a little bit of glue down here on the lace. Like that. Oops. Okay, so, and then I can't remember whether I was waffling or whether I did mention, but I obviously just cut off a little bit of bling there to pop on her here. So I'll just that on here. Like that. And then, just seeing whether I've got a bit of bling there to put inside the butterfly. Again, I would have preferred my favourite, which is the black one. So excuse my arms just all over the screen. Just looking to see whether I've got any of my gorgeous black bling. I thought I had some somewhere. It's just a case of finding it. Just see, because obviously, you know, the picture of this lady and things, she's quite dark. So I feel like the black bling would look really beautiful. So just going to pop that on there. So I'll just ink that, not ink it up, but glue it down. And then I will just actually wet glue this because feeling a bit clumsy, like I could well burn my fingers. There we go. Gorgeous. So I'm really liking how that looks. Could put a bit more bling on somewhere, but I don't know whether it really needs it. Does that look really strange, having kind of those two bits of bling there? Let's have a look through the... I've never done that before, but I quite like it. So, right, well, I will use the hot glue as I'm gluing straight onto the lace. Let's hope I don't burn my fingers. So, oh, come on. Okay. So, love how that looks. And if I just bring in a blank journal, just to kind of show you how that would look. So just bear with me for a couple of moments. So that's how that would look, you know, on your page. I love that. It's really pretty. So yeah, I mean, kind of strange combination, I know, putting that lady on that paper, but for me, she was just kind of somehow calling to me. So I love how that looks. So that's kind of using the Autumn Avery collage sheet. So I'm just going to pop that out of the way. So the other image that I kind of dug out was this. I've got this super cute flower fairy book. Actually, I'd best just check what time I'm up to. Right, 28 minutes. So I've got this super cute flower fairy, really, really, really sweet book. And I've had it for, oh gosh, yonks. And as you can see, I mean, it's, to say it's on its last legs is an understatement. Haven't used it, been hoarding it because, oh, I just think it's really, really, really cute. I don't know what the age is. I don't think it had a, date, if I recall. I don't think I could find a date before. But it's just got the most gorgeous images. So I wanted to pull out one or two of these to kind of work in with the collage pages. So I pulled out the yellow one. I have to say, actually, I now just have spotted this one, which I just think would look really great on this one, on the flower stall page. So I'm going to hang on to that for kind of future use. The yellow one I pulled out because I thought it might go really rather nicely on this one. So, and this one is called the Antique Flowers pages. So I'm going to kind of go for that, I think. Let me just move those papers out of the way. So I just want to check. I wasn't sure whether these were pictures stuck onto borders or whether they're kind of flat on there. They are actually kind of flat. So I'm going to kind of use that, I think. So I'm going to, I think, tear around her. Now I'm just wondering whether to actually tear around her or kind of tear her down in a rectangle. Let's try that first, because then we can always kind of change her afterwards, whereas if I just go hung kind of tearing her, you know, fussy tearing her, then it's too late. Then I can't kind of put her back on the background. So we'll just go gently first and kind of see from there. Isn't she cute? She's just gorgeous, isn't she? So I'm going to kind of pop her on here somewhere. So just trying to think now how I want how I want to have her. Let's think. Right. So I wonder about doing a little card with her. We could kind of do that. Or to be honest, I mean, you know, and I don't know why I seem to have moved away from this, but I might just cut this down because, you know, there's no reason why I couldn't just do this as a tuck spot on its own. You know, which would work perfectly. So I think that's going to be how I'm going to use her. So I'm going to kind of tear this down. Now I need to decide how I want her. I don't necessarily want her with the rose, because to me she doesn't really kind of go with the rose, but I'm going to just cover up the rose, and then I think I will probably kind of tear this down here, maybe here, yeah, like that. Now I'm going to try again with the neck curtain and see whether that would go better on here. So that doesn't look too bad, does it? So let me just cut this roughly around on here. I think this is all I've got left of this particular coffee dyed batch, because I didn't coffee dye the entire curtain in one hit. You know, the majority is still white, so I think that's kind of all I've got really of that, like that. Okay, so I quite like that, and then I'm going to kind of cut this down, I think, to make it kind of narrower. Let me just check that I wouldn't prefer to have it this way on. Could have her that way round, which is quite nice actually. And then we could have her kind of over there. What do you think? Though we don't have much of the blue then, and I just thought the blue was picking up beautifully from her you know, this sky in the background. So I'm going to trim it down here. Let's trim it down a bit more, like that. Let me just trim it down a bit here. Okay, I like how that looks. So I'm going to kind of pop her here. And again, I'm probably going to distress these papers, but I maybe won't be quite so grungy as we were last time. Now, she would obviously kind of really benefit from being stitched onto this lace, but obviously, you know, as per usual, I haven't got access to my sewing machine here, so I may do that kind of later in kind of slow time. So for the time being, I would just stick her onto that lace, just so that we can kind of get going, you know, rather than stop start with the video. So I'll just pop her to one side, and then I'm just going to rough this up around the edges. Just like that. And actually, just just wondering whether I could use a kind of greeny shade to kind of ink up. So let's just have a look through. So I've got my green ones quite close to the top of the pile from where we were doing the collage kind of pieces. So now the only thing is sometimes these are really, 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 whoa, you know, bright green. So I have a feeling this one is, or it could be this one, but so what I want to do, this one I think is probably pretty dried up, and obviously I'm just using my same ink pad, so that's not ideal. I don't have an abundance of ink pads. I just tend to have kind of, you know, I buy one pack and when they're gone, they're gone. I don't kind of swap them around all the time. You know, again, I don't know whether kind of other people in the UK find this, but, you know, the things like this are quite pricey. So the pack of pads are, I think they're about £6. I mean, you do get quite a few, but maybe 12 or something like that. So although you do get quite a few, I mean, obviously if you're kind of swapping them around each time that you're changing colours, they're, you know, you go through them quite quickly. So we'll just kind of dab that off a bit. Right, let's see. Now this one might be too dried up to use, so that might not really be helping the situation. So let's have a look at this. Now this I think is pretty bright. But you see, what I'm trying to do is kind of pick up the green that's kind of all in the picture. So that's a better shade. Okay. So I might just go around here just with the green just at the edges, not going too mad, kind of, you know, like all over the page, if you see what I mean. Because I don't want to kind of have it bright green everywhere. So okay. So just kind of move some of these bits out of the way, and then when I bring her back, so that green's literally, you know, I don't know whether you can kind of see that, but the green is just very gently kind of at the edges, just picking that up, which, you know, I think looks really pretty then. Now I've got this gorgeous lace that I was gifted by Laura, still in its bow, look, from where she did, you know, gifted it to me in the Happy Mail. But it's been on my desk for ages because, you know, I've kept thinking I'm going to use it and then obviously keep not using it. So just wondering whether this might be the opportunity I've been kind of waiting for. So I might just cut a little bit off like that, and just have it kind of a tiny bit up there. And when we glue her on, and I just wonder whether I can just pop any kind of stamped pieces around her. So I kind of go in phases where I use stamped things all the time, and then you kind of forget to use them and, you know, don't use them so much. So just going to pull in a couple of stamped things. So I've got this butterfly. I mean, I love using the stamped things. Got that. Maybe that's a bit dark. Yeah, but kind of, you know, you forget to kind of use them, don't you? And then they sit there and sit there. But I've, you know, I like to have kind of a bunch of things ready stamped, ready to go. So I'm just kind of rummaging through my little folder here that's to the side of me, seeing what I've got that I can use that's kind of ready stamped, ready to go. And I also got some stamped, what do you call these, like dictionary definitions. They're really sweet, aren't they? So let's just bring those in. Sorry, excuse the rustling from the packet. So I'll just put that out of the way. So yeah, I've been clearing out my cupboards that are beside me. So that's what I've been doing with my big clear up. So who knows? Eventually I might be really organised and have my, you know, my folders kind of neatly lined up or something like that. That's the plan. That's how I would like it to be. So this one here is just dictionary definition of the word cherish. So just, again, just kind of rough that up a bit. And again, did I use this one? Was this the one we used? Crushed olive. Let's try. Yeah. So just going around that. And this had been ready stamped in a brown. Stays on. So we could have that kind of here. And this also has been stamped in brown. Now, I don't want to kind of crowd this and do way too much, but you know, it is nice to kind of have bits and bobs, isn't it? So I thought I was going to get so much done in this video, but I don't think I'm going to manage it. You know, this might be the last of the collage papers that we actually managed to play with, to be honest, because it's proving much more time consuming than I'd expected. And I don't know why, because to be honest, it always is more time consuming than we expect, isn't it? Now I'm going to just stick this down here with the wet glue, because I will actually stitch this on the sewing machine, you know, kind of in slow time after doing the video, because I think it would look really, really cute stitched. Now I'm just deciding whether to pop this on some lace or not, because I don't really want it kind of like bending like that. So let me just see whether having it on this lace, is that a bit strange, because it's the same lace as what we used, you know, to pop her on, or do we think that's okay? I've got that bit of brown. Oh, that's very dark, isn't it? Right, I won't bother with the brown. Let's just try this out. So I assume that my son has gone straight out in the garden. I think he's kind of chilling out, you know, that way, because he did that yesterday. He kind of came in, did some revision, and then he just chilled out in the garden, you know, for a while. So that's his kind of way of just, you know, chilling out and kind of letting off a bit of steam. Now we could have this butterfly kind of at the side, where we actually just cut those wings off. Let's just have a look. I don't dislike that. What does everybody else think? Could have it like this. Oh, I quite like that. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to ink this very lightly with the green, just so it's got just a hint of the green. And again, I'm just going to kind of glue that. Now at this point I would normally hot glue this. I'm not going to, because I'm intending on stitching around this. And you know, my sewing machine's absolutely fine with glued things, but not hot glue. So you know, hot glue's not kind of ideal if you're going to be sewing on my sewing machine. I don't know what other people's would be like, but certainly my sewing machine kind of, you know, it doesn't like it, because I mean hot glue is very thick, isn't it, and very kind of lumpy, so you know, it's fair enough, isn't it, really, that it doesn't kind of like that. So this one here, I should just glue like that. I'm going to have this up here. Oh, this looks so pretty. Now I'm just debating, do we have it all going one side or do we have that on the other side? Let me just stand up again and look through the camera. I think I quite like it all down one side. I'm going to put it down one side, and actually, if I'm doing that, I'm going to hot glue that, I think. And then what I'll do, if I stitch around the edge, I will just avoid my stuck down items. So just pop that like that. So when I'm kind of stitching on the sewing machine, I'll just, you know, stitch around like that. And obviously on here, just move those wings out of the way and stitch around her, you know, being careful to mind out for the other things. So love that, looks really pretty. Now I'm just deciding whether to pop this lace down here or kind of anywhere else. I mean, I absolutely love that lace. I'm not sure whether it's kind of showing up enough. What do you guys think? Or unless I wanted to have kind of lace right the way across. Hold on. To me, I just felt like having it right the way across was kind of like a bit too uniform, and I didn't really want it to kind of look like that, but I think I might have to. I mean, I don't dislike it either way, to be honest. I think either way looks pretty. Oh, I'm not going to stick it on right the way across. Go with as I first planned. So I'm just going to kind of pop it on like that. Just check I've got the right side of the lace. Not that I know as there's a right and a wrong, but just in case there is. There we go. And then obviously again, you know, if I go around with the sewing machine, that would catch that. So, you know, that would be kind of really good. Just see if we'd want any bling anywhere. And again, obviously, if I pop that there, that's absolutely fine because I'm not going to go around that on the sewing machine. So let's just have a look. Oh yeah, let's have that there because it just kind of finishes that off really nicely. Oops. So pop that down like that. Okay. Right, love that. Now this I had printed, sorry I did forget to say, I printed all of those on 160 GSM cardstock. Some were on that ultra smooth, you know, that I've talked about before, that to me doesn't feel as thick as 160. And some was on not the ultra smooth, so some that I think does feel much thicker. So, you know, for me, depending which one it was printed on would depend how I would use this. Doesn't that look so pretty in that journal? I just love this gorgeous image of this fairy. So if I were using this, I mean, I would probably just use this as a tuck spot as it is. So I would kind of glue it on kind of two sides and just have it as a kind of tuck spot like that. If, however, you were kind of making something similar to this and you were a little bit worried, then of course what you could do is just back it onto, you know, probably just actually, you know, thin copy paper when you stitch it on the sewing machine, because that would obviously strengthen it. You've got then, you know, double thickness of the paper. I wouldn't bother gluing it or anything. I would just kind of stitch it around, you know, if you're worried. So yeah, for me that's you know, probably going to be thick enough, I think. So right, so let's have a look and see what the time is. So we're up to 50 minutes. I should really go down and just check that my son's okay. You know, and see how his exam went. So let me just bring back the couple of items that we did and the papers that we kind of used for them. So hold on. Oh gosh, no, I can't find the paper that I used for that one. Oh, here we go. Right, so obviously we did this one here using the Autumn Avery, so love that. And then completely different kind of look here was using the antique shop, or sorry, the Antique Flowers collage page there. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat now. So completely different kind of looks, and yeah, I'm not quite sure which one I prefer, to be honest, but I think they're both really, really nice. So I hope that you guys like them, and hope that this was a bit of a fun kind of different video. I know kind of obviously it's a bit boring if I'm just uploading the same old videos all the time. So hopefully this one was a little bit different, quite fun to kind of, you know, use these collage pages and do just completely random kind of things. So yeah, I'm going to hopefully do a video later or in the next day or so with a few items for my shop. And yeah, I will see you all again soon. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope you all have a really great day. Thanks then. Bye.